There is good. We've all heard a lot about self-care and how important it is to our health and our longevity, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you're in a crisis state right now. You've got chaos, and the big complaint, of course, now with everything going on in the world today is, how do I prioritize myself? I came here originally to learn how to unlock the gilded cage so I can our life as something that needs to happen when we have time, instead of saying, wait a minute, I need to actually put time into myself so I can be there's the emails, there's a crisis at work, it's the latest, this is happening every 30 minutes. The game is being played differently, right? Everything's changing. And so instead of saying, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to go spend 10 minutes to drink an amazing glass of water and do 50 sit-ups, right? Like, I'm not talking about getting in beach body shape right now. I'm talking about putting some time into yourself. And here's why this is so essential. If you are not taking time to put time into yourself, whether it's your health, your mental, I'm going to talk about this in a minute, how taking care of your mental state and taking care of your emotional state and your physical state, what is going to happen is that whatever state you're in right now, because high achievers were like, I got this. I eat challenges for lunch. Like, we're very much wired that way. That is going to start to erode. And very quickly, you are going to be less and less effective with your decision-making, less effective as a leader for your team, certainly less available to your loved ones and the things that are really precious in your life. You're going to have zero willpower, and you are going to be, batting like zero batting average. And this is not what high achievers want, because then what that does is loop itself back into this feeling of feeling out of control, feeling overwhelmed. And then the world is just negative, negative, negative. Then we can't get ourselves out of that slump. Okay. So the goal is not to be, I got this, as you're circling the drain and drowning. The goal is to say, I do have this. And the way I have this is I prioritize myself. Okay. So for example, last night, one of the things I told my family, I live in a 1,400 square foot, apartment on the 25th floor. There's not a lot of places to run in my apartment to get alone time, but this is really essential. And so I asked my family very nicely, I was like, could you guys all go to your separate corners in your rooms so I can meditate in the space that I want to meditate in? Obviously, you could sit in a closet and meditate. You can do this anywhere and spend 15 minutes on me, right? I am getting up in the morning and I'm focused on not my emails, not my cell phone, but who do I need to be in this experience? And I'm writing that out maybe in a journaling. So I am working on my mental state and my emotional state first. And then I'm making sure that I have something physical is going on every single day. I did a walking meeting downtown the other day. So I had my earbuds in and I was walking the entire time. The gym is closed in our building right now. We can't get to the gym and the weights and the things that we normally like to use. That's okay. We ordered some heavy duty bands online and we're running up and down the fire escape. Sorry, fire escape's still open. Nobody can close the fire escape. So, that's a great workout. That is coming even more so in the midst of all the chaos right now. And what a lot of high achievers will do, we have been wired to push and push and push, stay up late, study for exams. When you were in college, just eat junky pizza and M&Ms to get those term papers done. Like, this has been wired in our existence from when we were quite young. And so now we're still operating that way, even though we have very different responsibilities than when you were in college, correct? And so you're still operating in these old habits. And so what happens is but now you have whatever, potentially a partner or kids or aging parents and a team of 50 people working for you and huge P&L responsibility and, the brand reputation and public relations issues and all the things we have going on. You ain't in college anymore. You can't keep operating that way. Like, that is ineffective. So all you're doing is operating less and less and less and less effectively. And we see this all the time when we work with our clients. These are women who have some incredibly powerful jobs, but they're missing they're missing some obvious strategies and solutions right in front of them, not because they're not bright, stunningly talented women. It's just because they're just running on empty, or they're running lower and lower and lower. Even though they may not feel tired, they may feel really confident. You just can't continue to operate this way. You have to prioritize yourself into the mix. Now, that doesn't mean you get out of bed every day and say, for the next hour, I'm going to go to the gym and, to heck with the world. You may not have an hour. You may have 20 minutes. You may only be able to listen to some amazing music that just disconnects your mind from the fray. It may be sitting down with your family and reorganizing and recalibrating the family structure so that everyone is getting some time for themselves as we all learn to work in more of a virtual world. But that piece is critical, and it doesn't come at the end of the day. The other problem that as high achievers we will do is we don't give ourselves permission to spend time on ourselves until the work is done. Now, part of that is because getting the work done feels good, does it not? I love to work. I love my career. I love everything about it. I love the clients we serve. I love the company we're building. I love the money we make. It's all fun. Like, this is fun. Like this, and for you, if you're highly successful, that's probably really fun for you. Why would I not work? I enjoy what I do. However, when that work is superseding the other things in your life that is also important to you, when the story in your head is, as soon as the work gets done, I can then go whatever, play with my children. As soon as the work gets done, then I can go for a walk around the block or go hit the gym or whatever it is that you want to do. That's the cycle you have to break. You have to know the art of powerful disconnecting your mind and emotional state from the song of the siren, which is your work. Okay. Especially now, because now there's 1,000 excuses to work 24/7, right? Like, why would you not be working right now? Everybody's working 24/7. Who has time to take care of their health? Well, really, I mean, are we going to put our lives on the shelf right now because we're in chaos? Because here's the thing, guys, how many of you lived through Brexit? You know, how many of you lived through the 2008 crisis, right? How many of you guys have lived through, the different stock market crashes, 9/11? I mean, we've been through some stuff. There's always chaos that's going to come into our life. How many of you have lived through, a company going under or a major merger acquisition, having retention issues with your team? I mean, there's been so many things, guys, that you have probably handled throughout your life that have been really chaotic. And if you're going to hold your breath every time that happens and put what's precious in your life on the side and then get back to, until you get back to your regular scheduled programming, that's not a well-lived life, right? Like, that's a life where you're being controlled by compulsion. You're in a gilded cage that is self-subscribed. Like, that's not a company doing that to you. That's you doing that to you, because you are not breaking out of those habits and behaviors that you acquired decades ago that don't work for you now. So a highly skilled leader is someone who not only is in command of their state, but they're also able to change their state. What I mean by your state is your emotional, mental, and physical being. You're able to change that state at will, and you're able to help someone else and influence their state. And then you're able to do it for your team. And then you're able to do it for your culture of your company or the culture of your team or your division. That is amazing leadership. And that is what the world needs right now. And that's what you're capable of. I know you are, because you're highly successful and you've already beaten the odds in so many different ways. But if you don't know how to do that, now what is happening is you're starting on a weak foot. Now you're starting from this whole mentality of, I have to grind, I have to be strong, I have to grit, we've got to suffer. Come on, let's all suffer together. Well, people are already suffering. Nobody's going to sign up for that. Nobody wants more suffering. Everybody's suffering. People want to follow leaders that say, I have a new way. And my way is showing you how we can change where we live mentally, emotionally, and physically each and every day. How I can help you rise to be the highest version of yourself. And if you're not doing that for yourself, then you're going to be a hypocrite when you're trying to tell other people to do it. Nobody wants to follow a leader that won't take their own medicine, right? So think about that. So if you are allowing yourself to become more and more diminished and less empowered in your environment right now, guess what's happening to the people who are looking up to you? They're becoming less empowered. They're becoming diminished. They're becoming smaller instead of rising into their own greatness. Now, does that mean that every single day is joyful cherries and buckets of roses? No, this is difficult. Let's name it. Let's touch it. Let's feel it. Feel the feels, right? It is difficult right now. We get to shed tears. We get to say this is hard, but we touch that emotion and then we move back into the state that we want to live in. Okay. So have that emotion and then move back into the state. And when you know how to move yourself through that state and you can see your own habits and behaviors, one of the really powerful things that was shared on one of our client calls this morning was an executive who said, hey, I have gone backwards in some things, but I caught myself and I saw it. Like that awareness is what I'm celebrating, because now I go, oh, going back to working in that fashion doesn't work for you. And she was able to pull herself out of it and then, readjust and recalibrate back into a more effective style. That is beautiful. That's exactly what you want to be able to do. That's an empowered leader. That's the gilded cage that's just melted away. You're keeping the gold, the cage is gone, because you're choosing what that experience is. And that comes with self-care. So if you're not getting up in the morning and changing what you're thinking up here, changing what you're feeling right here, and then getting physical, because physical activity also changes our state, then you are starting out every day behind the 8 ball, because holding your breath right now and hoping that all this is going to magically get better in, a couple of moments so we can go back to normal, that's not reality, right? We need to live in objective reality. So self-care is imperative. Hopefully I have helped open the door for you to be thinking about yourself as a leader differently, and why prioritizing yourself and how you operate is going to be really key in the days, weeks, and months ahead. If for some reason you are struggling with that and that is one of your that's your Achilles heel, I encourage you, I'll put a link below, to just book in a call and let's chat. Let's see what's going on. Let's get you headed in the right direction. You want to be drinking from the water cooler that fills your cup, not from the one that depletes you. And we can talk more about that. Okay. So I hope this has been helpful to you guys. And I will see you again over the weekend for more of these live broadcasts and about thriving in chaos. Bye, everyone.